Ever since I was born, I only knew one thing for sure. I had been born to be a superhero.
Do you know what happens to cape chasers in costumes who get on the wrong side of a gun? Wannabe?
Villain guy must have dropped this when he was running away.
Why didn't you join the Sidekicks program?
Bad blood doesn't look good on an application form.
Ah, yes. I thought I recognized the name, yes. Gregory the Hatchet Ditko. I need you to do some undercover work. I want you to infiltrate these anti-heroes.
What if subject becomes liability?
Well, I know my priorities. Between the operation and the subject, there will be no contest.
Dad? What happened? What happened?
Hey, Stanley. Good day at work?
Who did all this? Was it anti-heroes?
Just people, Stan. Just people.
Why? No one could know about your past.
Things come to light, son. Everything does eventually. Especially if you try to hide it away. I'm sure Mr. Grant is just stopping by to clear all this up.
What a shame. Good apartments are difficult to come by on this side of the wall.
If you're not here to help me pick up the pieces, then go your way, Walt.
I'm always here to help, Greg. By now, though, you realize this little incident could have been completely avoided if there hadn't been a deficit in your annual donation to the organization. Something funny?
The factory is gone. Anti-heroes blew it up. Your little take off the top just went the way of all things.
There's always a way, my friend. You know that, and I know that. Someone with your, experience is always useful. The old Greg wouldn't have hesitated to offer those services for the right price.
Loyalty to my family is worth any price.
So we're on the same page. We expect you at the pier next week at the latest. You'll receive your instructions. It'll be just like old times. Only better.
I'm not going back.
Excuse me. You think someone of your background is welcome in this city? Really welcomed? It didn't matter to the protection agency. All that mattered was that you paid the same price as anyone else. Now our hands are tied and everyone knows your dirty little secrets. I hate to imagine what your friendly neighbors might do to your boy if they caught him alone somewhere now.
Listen, and listen good, punk. You think your little gang is something special? Let me tell you, I've worked with the best, and you don't measure up. I'd like to be there when the supervision tracks your racket down, and a cape breaks you in two. Maybe I even save them the trouble right here. Make an example for any other punk who thinks about threatening me or my son.
Dad, please, let him go.
Smart kid you have there, Greg.
He gets that from his mother.
You're lucky with friends. You know what you can do to make this right, Greg. You need time to consider your options and come to your senses? Fine. Keep it sharp. A week from today, the pier.
You're still talking, and you're on my property. Beat it.
So, you're gonna go send a complaint to the supervision now, right, Dad?
No point, son. They don't patrol this side of the wall.
They might make an exception. I just got into the Sidekicks program, actually.
Did you now? Good for you, son. You always wanted that, I know.
Is Mike coming back?
I don't think so.
What do we do now? Dad!
Welcome, one and all, to Save Me Please with Scott Caxton. I am your favorite host, Scott Caxton. But folks, if you watch the show, and I hope you do, you've probably been following up on all this recent, shall we say, activity going on in the districts. Another factory got liberated. That is to say, blown to fiery masonry by the heroic anti-heroes who are still fighting doggedly every day to free us from our elevated standard of living. All these people blindly follow the orders of this guy called the Mastermind, whom no one has ever seen and might not even exist. Mastermind. Sounds like some kind of accountancy program. For another, do you know what anti-heroes were called back in the bad old days? Do you know where they came from? Of course you do, because you watch my show. But let's assume you're just as insular as the worst of these idiots. Detractors. Anti-heroes can draw a direct line to the first group who broke things and hurt people, to stick it to the heroes. We used to use a much more concise packaged term to describe them that really rolls off the tongue. We used to call them villains. I want to bring that back. The next time someone says they feel uneasy about super patrols, or complains about sidekicks being too well organized, or raise a stink about ordinances, don't call them anti-heroes. That gives them too much credit. Someone complains about curfew, the city, any of the rest of it. Let's from now on use a term they can probably understand much better, mostly because it involves fewer syllables. Anyway, just like heroes always do, we have one of them visiting now to bring a little order out of chaos. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the one, the only, Administrator Rationale. Give it up! Always a pleasure, Administrator.
Likewise, Scott.
So, you decided to take time off from your oh-so-important career of saving the world. I guess we'll let you off the hook this once. I can't imagine you have anything of great importance to say, but just for the sake of argument, how about you fill us in on how to handle this situation? There's a lot of scared people out there.
There's no need to fear. Actually, the act of fear is an act of surrender. We didn't form the supervision together because we were afraid. Quite the opposite. We had hoped for a better future beyond these petty differences and divisions. I guess it's too much to hope for that the world would improve this many years after the disaster. But we've still got the same old ghosts to trouble us. Human weakness. However, if it wasn't for that in the first place, I suppose none of us would be where we are now. And I've come to appreciate the unique opportunities my position presents. For one thing, the view is excellent from my office on the top floor. Seriously, on a clear day, you can see right across the harbor. Sinatra probably is rolling in his grave.
Nice. You've got a knack for comedy, too. Have you considered a career as a show host? Preferably when I retire?
Yeah, talk show host. Here's honey. Anyway, this latest incident, however, it makes me very unhappy. It's not so much a betrayal of me, but a betrayal of everyone. We have kiosks to file your complaints with the Supervision Citizen Action Committee that you could use any time of day or night on both sides of the divide, and those cost considerably less than a pound of thermite. To destroy like this is simply laziness. You can't build up by tearing down. You can't make anyone listen to you by force. But frankly, I'm not that torn up about it. The anti-heroes responsible for the action were arrested. Yeah, thank you very much. The damage was minimal, and I know for a fact that all this misspent energy is the actions of a few scattered extremists. The majority of the citizens still support the supervision, still support the Sidekicks program, and still support the cause of justice.
You might not be able to read mine, sir, but I think you've read mine, and I know we all agree that the city is in very capable hands.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Now I have to stay up all night to write a new speech for tonight's press conference.
Always a pleasure, Your Majesty.
Anytime, Scott, anytime.
Well, I don't know about you folks, but I feel super encouraged. I know. I have to use one every show. That's my allowance. I'll punish myself later. Anyway, that's the show. Come back tomorrow for more heroic interviews, sketches, encouraging messages, and if we're lucky, Magister might just show off her new costume.
I knew where he kept it. Even Mom didn't know he still had it from his earlier days. I hoped against hope he hadn't moved it, but he hadn't. It was still there. This was my legacy. Son of a henchman of a supervillain. Brother to an anti-hero who I hadn't seen in years. If anyone was villain material, I guess it was me. It was high time for a Ditko to do some good.
Nice costume. Enter vehicle.
Wow, your visage!
I am. Enter vehicle.
You know, this is the first time I've traveled by car since I was a kid.
For your special day, enter vehicle.
Do one bad thing, set everything right. Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Concludes today's broadcast as curfew time arrives. But this is not goodbye, citizens. Stay tuned until the next time you hear the voice of the city. And remember, anyone can be a hero.